the government.
And now the fuel thieves, known throughout Mexico as huachicoleros, are becoming immortalized in folklore and religion.
There were chapels where they put the baby Jesus, dressing him as the holy huachicolero child for people to pray to.
I'm Juan Polian, and I've been finding out how Mexico's illegal petrol trade is creating a new culture through film, song and prayer.
The bandit has always been in the imagination of the Mexican people.
Praying for Petrol, Sunday at 13 GMT.
Coming up in part 2 of Outlook, Michael Fuller went from growing up in a children's home to becoming the UK Police's first black chief constable. But it was a rocky road to the top.
We were told one day to go out and get some arrests. Then he said, well, make sure at least one of them's black. And I can remember looking at him incredulously and him just saying, go on, get out there.
Battling racism in the ranks and on the streets. Michael's story after the latest BBC News.
BBC News with Jerry Smith. The President of the European Council, Donald Tusk, has called on members of the European Parliament not to argue against giving Britain more time over Brexit. Addressing MEPs in Strasbourg, he said they must not betray the millions of British people who are seeking to reverse Brexit or get a second referendum. In London, members of the UK Parliament are trying to end the chaos over Brexit with a highly unusual series of votes on alternative courses of action. The idea is to gauge support for various options to see what can command a majority. Pakistan says it has fully opened its airports for all flights after keeping them closed for nearly a month. Tensions with neighbouring India. Officials said the country's national carrier, Pakistan International Airlines, has resumed its flights to ports in the country. Foreign airlines will also be able to land, but are still prohibited from overflying Pakistan. Pakistan has urged world nations to develop international treaties to prevent military threats relating to space. The call by the country's foreign ministry came hours after its neighbour India declared it had become a space power after it shot down one of its own satellites as a demonstration of its capability. The Algerian government's junior coalition partner, the RND party, has added its voice to calls for the 82-year-old president, Abdelaziz Bouteflika, to step down. The intervention comes a day after the head of the army said Mr. Bouteflika should be declared unfit to rule. The Japanese government has asked the heads of Japan's 4 biggest convenience store chains to come up with plans to address the country's critical labour shortages. Franchise owners of 7-Eleven, Family Mart, Lawson and Ministop are struggling to stay open and not open overnight. CNews.